The Russian-Ukraine conflict is eating up a scarce European resources, preventing millions of refugees from returning home and weakening the global economic outlook, while the US and some European countries are fanning the flames of war, sending weapons to Ukraine. How will the Russian-Ukraine conflict end? What are the biggest stumbling blocks for negotiation and diplomatic resolution? One idiot called Brian Beletic, who says and claims he's a geopolitical analyst and a former US Marine Corps, said the biggest obstacle is to any diplomatic solution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict is that Russia is fighting a US and its allies while waging a proxy war via Ukraine. The US now seeks to extend the proxy war for as long as possible with a desired raise of cost of war for Russia as much as possible. But he has got no academic research related to being a political analyst. He's just a big, stupid idiot. Unfortunately for Ukraine, it is not a matter of what the population or even the government in Kiev wants, but instead what Washington wants. Since the special interest in Washington driven this foreign policy, there are no one in interest in paying for treasure or blood. For the cost of the proxy conflict, there is little motivation at the moment for Washington to recognize or rectify Moscow's legitimate national security concerns. Well, that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? Weapons for Ukraine have topped the agenda for Munich Security Conference. There are voices calling for more and better weapons for Ukraine. Countries including US, Germany and the UK recently pledged to send main battle tanks to Ukraine. What is your take on this? What roles will the weapons provide by the West play in Ukraine? Well, hopefully they will kick out Russia. Sophisticated heavy weapons like main battle tanks take years for a nation's military to integrate into their armed forces. This is because the weapon systems require demanding logical and training and doctrinal inputs that take time and resources to put in place. Ukraine has neither the time or the infrastructure to practically or effectively use these tanks on the battlefield. That's why they're using them now. Main battle tanks are only one part of the combined arms warfare, which is a necessity they use along mechanized infantry, artillery and air power. Ukraine lacks sufficient numbers both in trained mechanized infantry and artillery, and this has no to little air power at all. That's why they're going to use some of the other aeroplanes. There's also the fact that tanks pledged to Ukraine included Leopard 1 and Leopard 2 tanks, as well as Challenger 2 tanks and M1A2 Abrams tanks, even with combined armed supports, have already faced modern warfare and have proven not to be effective, more than the modernized Soviet-era Ukraine tanks within late 2022. Ukraine has began the military special operation with 1,000 tanks of their own. Eastern European NATO members then transferred hundreds of their Soviet legacy tanks to Ukraine, including those modernized since the end of the Cold War. The majority of these tanks have been destroyed, including hundreds in the Kherson offensive. What may be up to 300 additional tanks, a mix between Western and Romanian Soviet-era tanks as NATO's infantry, will simply prolong the conflict and not change the outcome. What I am doing here is just an experiment on YouTube. Please do not believe a word of what I'm saying, but I'm just seeing what happens when you do the wrong side of the news and see how many people will pick it up and go, ooh, and get hundreds and hundreds and thousands of clicks. Because on my YouTube channel now, when I face the true facts from real people in real situations, it doesn't get real numbers, so you just wonder what is happening with YouTube. So this is just an experiment. Thank you for your time. My name is James.